All right, and welcome back to the Created Studios podcast. I'm your host with the most, Jordan Mode, and today we have a phenomenal guest for you. Today we have the one, the only, William James. Will, thank you so much for making this happen, brother. I know this was like an arm and a leg pulling for you.
Dude, honestly, thank you so much for having me, man, and for such a grand introduction. I really appreciate you, and you know how much I love you, brother.
Absolutely, man. Obviously, from probably about 99.98% of you out there, Will is the lead frontman, frontman guitarist, really, literally everything all-around rock star when it comes to the band Sleeper Signal. He's done a lot of great things that we're going to dive into today about. But Will, I know you're back in town for just a little bit, but what have you been doing this past weekend?
Wow. So, I pulled up to Nashville about 3 days ago. The first day back in a long time, had to hit Broadway, see the old haunts, go to, my old spots in East Nashville and see a lot of the homies, and did a little performance at the Basement East for the Weezer tribute show.
How was that?
It was incredible, man. It was really cool. And the donation, like the charity, was for a mental health awareness, which I thought was really cool. Something very important, especially, amongst the musical community and creatives and all that stuff. So, and plus I love Weezer. So I got to kick off the show, which was cool too,
That's awesome, dude.
Yes, absolutely.
I know you, my bandmates and you guys like hit it off last year when we went on the road because they're just diehard Weezer fans and they know how much I don't like Weezer, but so much to the point where my drummer got me a Weezer t-shirt for my wedding.
Oh my goodness.
Anywho, that's a story for another day. So Will, basically, I know the audience here probably doesn't know much about you, so I want to dive into everything, the knit and grit. So let's start from the beginning. What got you into music, and what was like your first kind of moments? Like what bands got you excited? Like what you're like, I want to do this for a living.
Sure. So music to me was always like, it was almost second nature. So most everyone in my family is a musician, my mom and dad specifically. So my mom was the lead singer of a band and my father was the drummer. And that's kind of how I came to be.
Love it.
So it just was always one of those things where it was a part of anything we did as a family. So there was always a guitar in the corner. There was always drums set up. I always heard my mom singing, So for me, it was almost like learning a second language growing up. So it came naturally. My grandfather was a jazz guitar player in the 30s.
Wow.
Yeah, a phenomenal one too. Johnny Giordano. He was a bad
with that Italian in there.
That's right. And so it almost kind of got dumbed down through the generations. He was like a virtuoso gypsy jazz guitar player. He taught my Uncle Ronnie, and Uncle Ronnie got into like rock and roll and stuff like that in the 60s and 70s. And then he ended up teaching me how to play guitar when I took an interest when I was like 13. So kind of a generational thing. And honestly, it was one of the few things that just always consistently like made sense.
Yeah.
And my folks, they didn't push it on me. They let me try things like, I love sports,
Yeah.
So when I was a kid, it was like Little League baseball, Little League football. And at the end of the day, I wanted to not be at practice or at the game. I wanted to be at home playing music. So sports kind of fizzled out. Okay. And the only thing that kind of made sense to do was just playing my drums or, trying my best to learn some guitar and learn how to sing. And so it was just always a part of who I was.
Oh, I love that, man. So there was a lot to unpack there. But the one thing I wanted to mention, so when you say like gypsy guitarist, are we talking like Django Reinhardt?
Yes.
Oh, I love that. That's so
yeah.
cool.
In fact, he is responsible for me even knowing any of that music.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Actually, I have his old like vinyl records from back in the day, like a lot of Les Paul albums, Django Reinhardt albums, what have you. And just the kind of music that you hear and you're like, how are they doing that? And then you find out Django Reinhardt had like not fingers? All of his fingers at use. It's like, dude.
And he's like the originator of the modern day surfer sound. Like it's crazy what he used to do. Yeah. So like so you have these records and you're hearing them and you're really getting inspired. Do you remember like what the first band was that you were like, dude, that's the game changer for me?
Yes. So driving around with my father at a young age, I was always hearing like classic rock music. It was the Beatles. The Beatles still to this day are my favorite band of all time. And I think it's because I was introduced to it as a little kid.
Okay.
And the Beatles, they have serious songs, they have love songs, they have rock songs, and then you've got the Ringo stuff, Octopus's Garden and Yellow Submarine. So it's almost like you're hearing serious music, but when you're a kid hearing the goofy songs, you're like, oh, we all live in a Yellow Submarine. It's easy to digest, right?
Oh, no, 100%.
And then I remember my mind being absolutely blown when my dad showed me, he had a live Led Zeppelin album that came out called How the West Was Won. And I'm hearing that intro track, the Immigrant Song, and John Bonham just wailing away at the drums. And I'm like, dude, music can sound like this? Mm-hmm. And that was my first introduction to heavy music.
Heck yeah.
And fast forwarding, I was in the 5th grade. You know how much I love Green Day.
Oh, yeah.
American Idiot had come out, and my dad was watching MTV, and the music video for American Idiot had come out.
Such a great video.
And he goes, I was in the other room, goofing off, and my dad was like, Billy, get your in here. I was like, what's going on? He's like, you got to see this drummer. This Trey Cool, man. This guy's a animal, dude. And I'm sitting there, and I'm like, and you know that music video, so Billy Joe's in fast motion, Mike Dirnt's kind of in slow-mo, and Trey Cool's running around the drum kit, and then all the different cuts. And that was probably the coolest thing I ever saw in my life at that time.
Dude, that video that record in general, I don't think anybody was ready for what Green Day was about to put out at that point. That record's so good. Me and one of my old buddies, actually you met him, his name's Cody. We used to joke around because there's a line in that song that says, "Everybody do the propaganda."
Yeah.
So I had a song I wrote called the Hampton Jig a while back that got a little popular in the East Coast. And originally the song was called The Propaganda because of that song, because I thought it was such a great song title idea. I'm like, that needs to be a dance. We got to make that a dance. Right. It's so cool. But yeah,
and what a creative lyric too, to take propaganda, what's going on in the press, and make it a joke. All right, now everyone do the propaganda. It's
Billy Joe Armstrong's one of those guys you just want to get together and go bowling with.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, we can't drink with him anymore.
No. Probably for the best, though.
Yeah.
I'm going to miss the 20-minute twist and shout, covers.
Oh, yeah.
But dude, that's so cool, man. And the one thing that I can resonate with was the first band for me was Kiss when I first heard them. My dad took me to go see Kiss when I was 7 years old, and I remember just being so blown away by, I'm like, you can do this? This is a thing? And just seeing a legion of people just so obsessed with the sound, and it got me so inspired to just try to chase that.
The coolest thing about Kiss was how smart they were in their marketing too. And someone told me recently, this is going to be all paraphrased and, word of mouth, but they basically had this idea that if they're going to have broke people pay money, for a ticket to go see this band, they wanted to pull out all the stops.
Oh, yeah.
A full-on entertainment experience. So the makeup, the pyrotechnics, the stage antics and all that. And then on top of that, they were incredible musicians and songwriters.
Which I think can resonate today, because you and I, when we first became friends, one of the conversations you and I had, I'm pretty sure it was at the East Side Bowl or somewhere, but we looked at each other, and I remember we had this exact conversation where we were like, if you're going to be in a band and you're charging $20 a ticket to come see you, are these people getting $20 worth out of you? Are they getting their money's worth? And you and I were like, they better be, or, or get off stage.
It's funny too, and I think a lot of that comes with, for me personally, all the shows that we've played here in Nashville, we also have full-time jobs. Mm-hmm. And so it's the end of a long day. And it's dude, I got to let loose. I worked at my job all day doing something I don't want to do. I'm getting ready to go do my favorite thing on planet Earth. It's all that pent-up feeling and emotion, just you hit that first, chord, and it's and it's loud, and you're just oh, here we go.
Yeah.
You kind of transform into somebody else entirely.
You kind of let them, what is it they say? That you kind of let the metaphorical monster out of the cage.
Oh, yeah.
In the daytime, it's just Jordan and Will, be doing our thing. But then when the gates open, it's you really see who we are, and it's awesome. Yeah.
Do you feel like when you go on stage, you have kind of an alter ego that comes out at all?
Yeah, I kind of always vibed off of the Alice Cooper thing, where he's not Alice Cooper 24/7. For a while he was, and that's why he went to a mental asylum to get out of it. But
yeah.
I always tell everybody there's this monster that has to be put back in the cage when he's not on stage, and sometimes he starts beating up the bars to get out, and I have to really keep him under lock and key with that. But yeah, no, I think most musicians, or at least people who are passionate about what they do, have that ego, or like not maybe that ego, but like that character to them. And you do too, man. Like the second you get on stage, you're not just Will James, you're Will James the rock star. And you know, you can command an audience better than half the people in this world can, if not 75% to 90%.
I really appreciate you saying that. It's funny too, because like I think about it, like you know me, like I'm a very kind person in my day to day, and but being on stage, it's almost like because we're playing tough music, I almost kind of like I wouldn't say like become like a bully, but it's like almost like there's Will, and then there's like the high school jock on stage who's like, you know, what's up? You know, like, it's time to rock and roll, you know. And it's like it's a fun outlet for that, you know, feeling, because like deep down, you know, we do experience those emotions like anger, aggression, you know, just pent up frustration.
Yeah.
So to be able to get that out in a safe space where no one, including myself, is getting hurt is super important.
Absolutely. And so let's do this now. So, you know, you didn't live in Nashville your entire life, right?
No. So basically, I'm from New York originally. So,
Okay.
my family's from a neighborhood right outside the Bronx called Mount Vernon.
Okay, yeah.
A lot of my great uncles were like legit Italian, you know, because they came from Italy, obviously. In the early 2000s, my mom wanted to kind of get away from the city, and we bought a house in Southern Connecticut, which is still considered like New York City metro. It's like, it was kind of funny. Like, we moved there, and my mom was like, you know, it's so funny. I was down at the market, and I saw a girl that I went to high school with. It was like everyone did the same thing. They moved out of New York, and it's this like quiet little town in Connecticut. So, and would continue to commute back and forth to work. They just wanted, you know, their kids to have a quieter little upbringing there. So then from there, I went to college in that nearby area in Danbury, Connecticut.
What'd you study?
I got in playing jazz drums, believe it or not.
Wow.
Yeah. It was my only shot. I was not the best in high school. My teachers loved me. I was very intelligent, but I never wanted to do my homework. I was always,
I feel that.
you know, at home playing music, learning my chops, trying to have a social life, you know, exploring, you know, female attraction for the first time and stuff like that. So, and goofing off on the local pond when it would freeze over, and my hockey buddies would be getting after it. So I just was experiencing life at a young age. I always kind of felt like, man, I'm kind of ready for the next step, even at the tender age of like 15 and 16.
Yeah.
Well, when high school ended, my student like counselor, they do like the end of high school meeting with you and your parents. And she basically looked at us and was like, there's no easy way to put this. William is graduating with a 1.5 GPA. He doesn't have many options, but maybe the U.S. military.
Oh, wow.
And I started laughing my ass off. I was like, dude, first of all, there's no way. You're not going to put, like, not that I respect the troops. I respect everything that they do. It just is not for me. Mm-hmm. So I was like, you know what? My mom was like, William, watch your mouth. I was like, no, I've had it with this. So I walked, I graduated. And then that whole summer, my mom was like, what are you going to do? And I was like, I don't know. Tried to go the route of like, maybe I'd go to Full Sail, like how you did. And I was like,
really?
That's really, oh yeah. I was like, but that's kind of far. I don't know if I want to go to Florida. I had a girlfriend at the time, and I was thinking like, man, what am I going to do? Because she was a year older than me. She was already at the Fashion Institute in New York City. And I'm over here, like, they basically just told me I'm doomed to be a loser for the rest of my life. So my mom was like, you know, William, there's this local university with a very competitive music program. Maybe we can get you an audition. I wrote a really good essay. They said, okay, cool. You're going to have your audition on this date. Nailed the audition. A lot of my friends didn't get into that music program, but I did. And I still felt like I didn't really know what I was doing. I was like, wait a minute. I spent my whole upbringing learning Neil Peart parts and Trey Cool parts and Ringo parts. Like, you want me to play, you know, like Earl Jones and stuff like that? So I really just gave it my best foot forward. They called me back a couple of days later, said, we want to introduce you to the Western Connecticut State University jazz program. I said, wow.
Say that 5 times fast.
Right. And I'm thinking like, now I got to learn jazz. Uh-oh. And I did really well, man. I didn't end up graduating with a degree in music. I ended up switching gears to communication because along that route, I learned the most valuable lesson I could have about music was that I didn't want to play jazz, but I also didn't want to be the type of musician running around trying to score auditions to pay my bills for the rest of my life. I wanted to do it more in the way of creative and make my own original art. I wanted to be a rock star. I wanted to be William James and Sleeper Signal and not like, okay, this is the set list for this wedding gig this weekend. So
I love that you just said that because I think that's the reason why you and I became basically best friends was same thing. Like, you know, people think like when you come to Nashville, you know, or LA, New York, wherever, there are those musicians, and there's nothing wrong with this at all. This is a genuine awesome career if you can do it. Is they chase gigs. They want to
Yeah.
go play there, they play covers, they do this, they're that. So, hey, if you want to do that and that's your grind, kill it. That's awesome. No one's going to defeat you. But like, well, I think a lot of people forget to realize too is there is that other aspect of doing it your way and
Yeah.
doing it maybe what they call the outsider type of way, where it's going to take longer to pay off, but it's going to feel so much better that you did it. And
yeah.
you know, I think about, you know, when I first started, like I was in the same way. My parents were trying to pressure me into college, and I was like, no, I'm good. And I'm in a metal band. I'm touring around and we're doing all the cool stuff. Like, why should I go to school? And some still went, you know, I still ended up going later on. But at the end of the day, I think, you know, people out there who are watching this podcast or listening to this podcast, just know you don't have to go to school. You can go to school if you want to better yourself in that type of style. And Full Sail, obviously, I went there and I will never not talk a day about it because it's so good. It was such an amazing experience for me. But you can definitely just follow the footsteps that are in front of you. Follow the path that
100%.
you're on. And if you feel good about something, you have a good gut feeling about it, go for it. Because what's the worst that happens? You try.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And even if, like me, like I was like 3 years in, I said, you know what? It's too late to give up. I can't drop out. I'm in debt. You know, so I just got a degree in something else. And I think what I learned the most about college was, even more so than like music and whatever, it was like commitment, you know, showing up on time, being held accountable. The minute there was money on the line and I knew I was going into debt, I was like, okay, I'm going to do my homework. I'm going to try my best here. I'm going to get good grades and and not kind of, you know, go off like I did in high school. Like now it's costing me my time, my money, and you know, I'm here, so I might as well just like get the best experience out of it as I could.
Yeah. So, okay, so now I got to ask, because I'm curious. What was the decision to change from drums to guitar and basically front a band? Because I knew you always played drums and I know you were killer at what you did.
Thank you.
But, you know, you changed and transitioned into the frontman of one of the best rock bands out there right now. And I'm not just saying that because you're my boy, but like ever since I saw you live the first time, I was obsessed with your band. But
that means the world to
yeah,
me. Thank you.
And like, what was the decision in your head? Like, I'm gonna go do this. Like, I'm gonna become the front man. I'm gonna be the guy in front of everything.
So I think it was mostly because I felt like I always wanted to sing like I saw my mom singing. And then also like just growing up watching all the cool stuff from the 90s. So like I'm experiencing like Kurt Cobain and, you know, Gavin from Bush and Billy Joe Armstrong and Dave Grohl. And I'm like, dude, I want to be that guy.
Yeah.
That guy like gets so much attention. So maybe it was like a little bit of vanity, you
Okay.
know? I also like I was an awkward teenager, bro. I was like, I had braces, I was short and I was chubby. And then like when I turned 16, I just like stretched out to be the string bean I am now. I had like a cool haircut. Like girls started like, you know, giving
Paying
me a little bit of
attention.
attention. I was the dude with the guitar, you know? I was
Yeah.
like, you know what? This is like, I wasn't cool and now I am cool. So like that feels cool. So I
Yeah.
kind of like leaned into it. And then I started realizing like I had a good idea of like how to write a good melody.
Yeah.
And I was always into like, you know, literature and, you know, the linguistic arts. And I love to read and I love anything that is like well written. So I started like writing these poems. And then I was like, I feel like this poem could be a song. So I started learning about song structure, like verse, chorus, bridge. And then I met a guy, it was a college professor, and he taught me the art of what is known as prose, which is like taking a lengthy statement and shortening it up to get the same point across, maybe in a more deeper
Yeah.
meaning. And that helped me start writing good lyrics that kind of make you really wonder, maybe lyrics that have two different meanings depending on how you listen to it.
Oh.
And so with all that, I was like, okay, I wasn't always a good singer either, man. It took me a long time to figure it out. I was kind of a late bloomer my whole life. So I really feel like the first time I got a good grip on singing was when I recorded the first Sleeper Signal EP with Richie Kennan in New York. And he kind of like coached me into singing. Like he was like, okay, try it this way. That sounds good, but make that vowel more like less bitey and more like fluid. Like you're trying to sing a cool song here, make it sound cool. So like utilizing your voice as an instrument also. And then you go through other growth areas, you know. And I feel like it wasn't until I turned 30, we did all the lyrics on this upcoming album and, the vocals, that I was like, oh, now I'm locked in. I'm in the zone. I feel like I have learned how to sing the best I could over the past 2 years.
Yeah.
And like, it feels so good.
Dude, it's funny you say that because I'm kind of in the same boat because like the first time I ever learned how to sing, I was at Full Sail and it was during a musicianship class and I was shaking.
Yeah.
Because like I'm a guitar player. I played lead guitar for my entire life. My parents said I did not have a singing bone in my body. They're like, you will never be a front man. Just get it out of your head. And I remember I was shaking because I had to like sing like the do re mi fa sol la ti do.
Right.
And I'm like, no, I'm good. And she's like, what's the worst that happens? You do it and you get it done. And she's like, I'm like, but I'm not a singer. And she goes, do you know? And this is seriously the best advice I ever got was. She goes, the difference between a really good singer and someone who can't sing is confidence. She goes,
so true.
Because if you command an audience, and maybe you're not perfect 99.8% of the time, people are still going to believe it.
Oh, yeah.
So I was like, you know what, you're right. And then, flash forward, to 2019, and it's the very first industrial night here in Nashville, and it's a packed out exit in. First time I've ever gracing the stage, and I'm singing, oh God, I don't remember. It was like Rob Zombie or something. And I remember going on stage and I've never been so nervous in my life. I was literally shaking.
Shaking, yes.
Yeah, like the Elvis Presley like leg shake. And like I get on stage and I grab the mic and I'm like, okay, we're just gonna do this and just see what happens. And that's when like the monster was let out of the cage. And that first, and then like going into that Hungry and Dangerous record that I did, I remember the producer, his name's Tristan Roberts, he literally had to do the same thing with me, coaching, just like, hey, don't sing that vowel that way, do it this way, do this that way. And like, I still felt a little uncomfortable like doing it all, but like if I like the product. And then going into this new record and obviously touring the last few years, it's like finding your home is so important as a singer. Like find what makes you feel like, you feel empowered and what makes you feel confident, what makes you feel like you could walk into a room of a sea of maybe like 5,000 people and you could get every single one to jump and they ask how high.
Right. 100%. Yeah. It's so funny you mentioned the studio thing. So I was always very comfortable with like tracking instruments in the studio. I think a lot of that came from like my training at school. So it was like if I had to hop on the drums and cut a drum track over scratch guitars, I could follow a click really well. So like once all that was done, it came down to like, now we got to sing. And I would have these like horrible like anxiety like moments where I was like, can I do this? So like I would get so in my head about it. And I don't know what happened. One day it just kind of like clicked and I stopped having those moments and I kind of gained that confidence to just like, okay, here we go. Like the first take might not be the best, but like, we would just kind of get better as it would go along. And so I'm glad I got over that because that really sucked. I mean, I'm talking like anxiety in the way that like I would start crying in the vocal booth because I would be like embarrassed or I would feel like I'm wasting time and time is money or I'm letting my band down or like they're probably thinking like, oh God, here he goes. Like he's going to f this up. Meanwhile, they're thinking like, no, come on, Willie, you got this, man.
Yeah.
So
that might be the biggest takeaway too is like as a vocalist, every frontman always has that in the back of their head. Even if they're the most confident, they're always like, what if I'm not good enough? Or what if my bandmates can find a better singer? It's like, like that there's always that realistic possibility, but at the same time, you need to be confident in who you are.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
There was times early on when we were kind of developing the band. So like Sleeper Signal started out as just me, but I didn't want to be a solo project. I needed a band. So it evolved in like 3 different parts really. And there was kind of this like workshoppy moment where it was like, do we get a lead singer and just put Will on guitar? Do we get a girl like singer? And in my head, anytime I would hear anything like that, I'm like, no, this is you're not going to put me in the corner, dude. Like, this is my thing and I can do it. And again, I was so young. I moved to Nashville when I was like 23, 24 years old. So like, I'm almost like believing these guys, but I'm like, no, like this is my thing. I came here to do specifically this. Give it time. We're going to figure out a solution. And that solution is not a lead singer. That's not me. So
exactly. No, own that.
100%.
No, that's crazy because, again, like coming into Nashville. So like, let me ask you this. Let's go back a little bit. What got you to Nashville? Like, what was the reason you came here?
This is a fun story. So, I mean, I originally I had these like big lofty dreams of like, yeah, man, after college, I'm going to move into the East Village of New York City and I'm just going to live the cool life as a musician. But like, that's not realistic because it is so expensive to live there.
Yes, it is.
And then I was watching the movie Walk the Line, and I was like, yeah, I'm always hearing about this Nashville, man. I love Johnny Cash, man. And I'm thinking, like, Johnny Cash is like the OG sad boy. He was the man in black.
He really was.
And I was like, you know what? Maybe I'm going to go check out Nashville. And it was just always this idea. And one of my best friends, Shane, who's not a musician, just a really supportive, awesome dude in my life. We were kind of the odd couple in college. Like, he was on like the football team and I was in the jazz program. But because we went to a state university, we had classes like math together and stuff like that. And I was sitting behind him in class one day, and he had an Odell Beckham Jr. like limited edition backpack. And I was like, "Hey man, I like your backpack." And he was like, "You know about sports?" And I was like, "Yeah."
As you're pulling out a Reggie White backpack.
Right. So then he graduated earlier than I did. He followed a young lady down here to Tennessee because she went to school at Vanderbilt after her, for post-grad. And he calls me up around spring break. He goes, "Bro, what are you doing for spring break?" I was like, "I don't know, man. I'm probably just going to kick it, maybe spend some time in New York City." He goes, "Bro, absolutely not. You're coming to Nashville. You're going to love this place." Bro, when I say this, I mean it. Everything is a guitar, bro. You're like, that's like his extent of music knowledge. I said, "Okay." So I got on an airplane. I came down, and he was right. And I was blown away. Like, within the first, 24 hours of being here, I knew, I was like, I need to be here.
I love that.
And exactly a year after that trip, I was moved in. I moved into East Nashville, and I was scared. I mean, I went from mom's basement to a brand new city, 18 hours away from home. And it didn't take long for me to make friends, and it didn't take long for me to fit in and to find a good groove. It was like everything happened as it should.
Yeah.
And I found the band within the first 3 months of living here.
Oh, wow.
Craigslist is a wonderful resource.
Which is crazy in 2025.
I know, right? And it was just one thing led to the next, and everything worked out. Meeting Leo was such a big deal for me because Leo believed in me from the minute he met me, and he had this vision. He's a little bit older than me of okay, I'm going to not only be in this dude's band, I'm going to produce this kid. And so his intention was I'm going to get this band off the ground with this young man. I'm going to coach him up. I'm going to help him write the best songs he can write. And then eventually maybe I'll retire and be replaced, but I'll always be his guy.
I love Leo, man. What a good guy.
He's never retiring from this band. I will.
He's your version of Joe Barf. He can never get rid of him. I'm sorry.
And he's taught me some of the most valuable lessons in my life outside of music. He taught me how to be a better musician. He's the best guitar player in the band. He plays the bass. I mean,
he's so good.
He's incredible, man. But he kind of helped me grow through those awkward, early to mid 20 years where you don't really know your from your elbow.
It's true.
And you're going through, with the flow, and you're making good friends, you're making some not good friends, you're learning lessons the hard way. And he was always there for me and still is. And I love him to pieces. So,
dude, that's amazing.
Yep.
I love doing this show because hosting the show, because the one thing I always love hearing is the stories that led people to Nashville. Because obviously this is a Nashville centric show because Creative Studios is in the heart of Franklin. But the one thing that's always so wild is what draws people here. Like last week we had John Weiscarver, and he talked about how
a great man.
Yeah, John's the man,
Yes,
dude.
sir.
And he talked about how he was, he actually came here and hated the Nashville sound and literally ripped apart Music Row, and then goes, "But I ended up staying, and it was the best decision ever." you know?
Right.
And then before that, we had a guy who was the lead photographer for Victoria's Secret and worked in the New York fashion industry, and then he loved Nashville, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna come out here." And now he's the head photographer at Gibson Guitars. Incredible. Which is so cool. So I think that's one thing, anyone who's listening to this podcast who maybe is not centered in Nashville, don't think you can't make your dreams come true where you're at right now. It's just, that's why we have, we do this podcast, is just really to showcase the stories that are happening in between. But we're going to take a quick break for a sponsor break, and we'll be right back with this interview with Will James on Creative Studios Podcast. And welcome back to the Creative Studios Podcast. We're hanging out with William James, the legendary frontman of Sleeper Signal. I just want to take a quick sponsor break as well for Futurebean Coffee. We're proud sponsors of Creative Studios Podcast. I literally start my studio sessions and anytime I'm walking in the studio with a Futurebean coffee. So move over, Duncan. There's a new coffee in town. So, Will, the one thing I really wanted to talk about, was you were on a TV show recently, and it was called Banded, correct?
Yep, Banded.
And you actually got pretty dang far in this show. So can you talk about like how you got into this, like how the show landed, where it was, and how you got into it, and like the experience?
So really cool. That was one of the most significant moments of my life. So rewinding the clocks to 2022, it's the tail end of a very long summer. We had been playing a lot that summer. During that same summer, I had so much going on in my personal life. I had to move because the apartment I was living in, like, basically got, they wanted to raise the rent. Like, things were like falling out from under my feet. You know, my little sister was in a god awful car accident.
Oh, gosh.
You know, there was just all these stressful things happening. And on top of that, I had to play like near every other night. Like, we were at the Cobra every single weekend. We were, you know, having like touring bands come through asking us to headline because they knew we had good pull there. So
Trying to take the crowd.
right, and we're trying to help support these guys who are on the road coming up to Nashville for the first time. So you know me, I can't say no to any sort of performance. I said, sure, we'll do it. But it ended up driving me nuts, man. And I was so exhausted. I was like having these like awful breakdown moments where I was like crying a lot, wondering like, is this like, can I even sustain anymore? Can I keep doing this? Like, is this right for me? So at the tail end of a very long summer where I had all these question marks going through my head about whether or not I wanted to continue to do music this way, I got a phone call from Leo, and he said, hey, man, this guy just called me. His name is Giancarlo. Sorry, I always mix those up. He's going to be calling you because they need somebody to be on this TV show. And I'm like, look, man, if this is going to be a waste of time, if this is going to be, let's put William on some reality TV. I was like, that's not really my bag. And quite honestly, like, I'm at my, you know, the end of my rope here. He said, dude, just take the call. It seems legit. They wanted me to do it. He's talking about himself, Leo.
Yeah.
He goes, I don't really want to do it, but I figured you'd be perfect for it. You know, you're the front guy. You're good looking, whatever. So the guy calls me, and I'm driving home from the brewery that I worked out. Shout out to Tailgate Brewery, the best brewery in Tennessee. They took such good care of me. Anyway, and I'm driving home from work, and this guy calls me, and he goes, hey, is this William James? I said, yeah. He goes, so listen, I'm sure you heard a little bit. And I said, yeah, man, listen, before we even go into this conversation, dude, please don't waste my time. I'm very tired. I'm at the end of my rope with this music. Like, I can't do this anymore. He starts laughing. He goes, Leo mentioned you're very tired. He goes, look, this is going to be a great opportunity, maybe the opportunity of a lifetime. This might change your career.
Wow.
Can you be at the Musicians Hall of Fame tomorrow morning at 9 a.m.? We're going to do an interview. Bring your guitar. I said, sure, whatever. So I get there, and I'm starting to realize, okay, maybe this is legit. They're like, you're going to go see Jessie in makeup. She's going to put a little makeup on your face. You're going to come in. So then they interview me. And they're smiling and stuff like that. I think they already knew based off my social media and stuff like that. Like, we want this guy. But they still needed like B-roll for the show. And I was just honest. And I was very much myself. And pulled out my guitar and I played one of our songs. And they're like, okay, cool. You'll be hearing from us. I said, right on. So I called Leo back and I'm walking into work. This was early in the morning. I had to open the brewery the next day. And I'm like, hey, man, I think it went well. It seems legit. He goes, okay, cool. Let me know what happens. 3 hours later, I get a phone call from the lawyer and said, hey, we're going to email you over the contract right now. Like, you're on the show. You're going to be on TV. We're going to need you at the Embassy Suites Hotel tomorrow. And then we're going to introduce everyone together. And you're going to be moved into this, like, basically a mansion in Mount Juliet, Tennessee by Sunday. And I'm like, whoa, hold on. This is happening this fast? And she goes, yeah. And I was like, well, I have to quit my job now and all this. I was like, okay, well, yeah, send it over. I'll read through it. I had a lawyer just take a quick look. He was like, yeah, this is a loose contract. They're going to pay you. Go ahead and sign it and do it. And the woman goes, but we need somebody else. We need a bass player. Do you know anybody? And I started laughing. I was like, yeah, I know the perfect guy, but he already said no. Give me like 20 minutes. I might be able to force him to do it. I called Leo. I was like, bro, first of all, do not make me do this by myself. And they need a bass player. He said, all right, you know what, I'll do it. So
twisting the arms a little bit, yeah.
God, I didn't have to go into this by myself because I knew nobody that was on the show I'd ever met before.
Yeah.
25 strangers, including me and Leo. So the only stipulation was like, you guys can't be in the same band together. That would be a disadvantage to the other groups. That makes sense. Leading into the concept of the show. 25 different musicians from all around the country and other parts of the world. Like Jacqueline, my lead singer on the show, was Canadian. They put us in 5 different bands based off of really nothing other than like appearance and good judgment, like, okay, they seem like they'd get along together, and they stuck us in a group. It was me, two other young men, and two young ladies, and I got chose to be the lead guitar player. And honestly, they couldn't have done a better job putting us together, and I think they knew it because we looked like a hand-picked out of a Hollywood toy factory band.
I love it.
We had such a solid look as a group. We looked like, we could have been the next like teenage pop sensation.
Heck yeah.
And then they said, you're going to compete. There's going to be songwriting challenges each week, and then you're going to perform at the Municipal Auditorium. Brandon Jenner was the host of the TV show. And they stuck each group with a songwriting coach and almost like producer. And we got so graciously lucky to have Wendy Starland.
She's fantastic.
She's incredible. I love you, Wendy, all the time if you're watching this. And Wendy's claim to fame was that she's the lady responsible for discovering and producing Lady Gaga. Yep. And she told me a very intimate story about it, which I won't leak on this podcast. But she made Lady Gaga the star she is today. Mm-hmm. And she was the sweetest lady, and she helped us write incredible music. And she taught me personally so much about songwriting and all the different ways you can do it. And on top of that, she was just a good hang. She was hilarious, and she was so fun to be around. And we just had the best 3.5, 4-ish months of our lives. And it was great. The show, they're still pushing. The last I heard, they're trying to re-air it on Peacock, which I think would be pretty cool.
Little James on Peacock? Come on now.
We shall see, fingers crossed. But and after that, I had this weird thing where I was like, wait, I was just on TV. Why am I back to being the bartender again?
Yeah.
Wait, I just went to Brazil with my band to open up for The Calling. Why am I back in Tennessee as the bartender again? So it's like all these crazy moments happen, and then you have to go back to real life. So I'm kind of hoping that eventually, like, those moments will just stay those moments, and I don't have to keep reverting to, like, oh, man, okay, back to just being the nobody, so.
But you're not a nobody, though, man, because, like, I remember when you got done with that TV show, you had a bunch of us over to your house for, like, kind of like a housewarming, and I remember you were telling me about the experience that you had on the show, and
right.
But, dude, just think about, like, even if that's all that came from that was that TV show, that's still such an incredible experience. And like, I mean, there's probably people watching this podcast right now going like, I want his life, but dude, like, that's such a cool experience for you to be able to, like, cause you were at your wit's end, you were like, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. And then all of a sudden, like, for some reason, God's like, you say that now, but wait, there's more. And, but that's such a cool thing, man. And I remember just being so stoked for you watching all the photos that were coming out. And like, I remember when you did the post to the Nashville Municipal Auditorium, and I was like, my dude is a rock star. Look at him. He's killing it. I love this for him. And then the show airs, you're back doing your thing with Sleeper Signal. You get on the road with some band called The Hungry and Dangerous, and and then now you're basically back in the studio now, working on the follow-up Sleeper Signal album.
Yes, so this is kind of cool too. So being on the show, it totally rebuilt my confidence, and it also, I noticed a lot of people in the scene started taking us way more seriously, and that was cool. It almost, even my parents do. My parents have supported me so much in this, but I think even they were getting tired of like the late night freakouts or wondering where their son is and why is he still out at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
It's like, because I just wrapped up a headlining show, and it was almost like it made sense to them. Oh, he's a professional entertainer now.
Yeah.
This is legit. He is that good. He can do this. So it really, it was very refreshing is what I'm trying to say. And then while we were on that show, though Leo and I were writing songs in different bands on that show, we started writing songs together in secrecy.
Oh, I love
hey,
that.
What do you think about this? Hey, that I think that's great. Do not tell anybody about this. This is ours. I swear to God, don't let these producers
Well, getting
know
the
what we're up
shave, like
to
the
here.
morning shave, you're just like passing your phone over.
Yeah, check this demo out. Yeah, so we wrote a lot of that album on that TV show. Or in the time thereafter.
So cool.
Yeah. So specifically the song Tonight You're Not Alone, which just came out.
So good, by the way.
Thank you so much. That song was directly inspired by moments that we were having with our partners back at home. It was hard for our families and our partners, girlfriends, wives, whatever. And a lot of those lyrics were like, dude, I know I'm on this big work trip right now. I know our son is having difficulty in school. I know that you're lonely without me. I know that work sucks and you know, it's a lot to take care of the house while I'm away doing this. So like that whole concept of like, you know, tonight you're not alone, I'll be there with you was like, you know, a lot of times we'd have to like sneak out of that house and rush home to normal life real quick and tap in and be like, what the f- is going on here? Okay, cool. Stay focused. I'm almost done with this.
Yeah.
You know, much like being on the road.
Yeah.
It's hard. You know, normal life continues when you're not doing the normal life away from it.
And it takes
That balance is really difficult.
and it takes an empire to keep it going. Like a lot of people don't know that, like the people behind the curtains, like from the spouses to the family members, like when the guys go out on the road, you know, or girls, you know, not just guys or
Oh, yeah.
girls go on the road. You know, there are people who still need to monitor, who have to do the day to day, the people who keep the place going, the, you know, the
Yep.
bills being paid, even though you are paying bills on the road. But,
Oh, yeah.
you know, not being around your partner or your family can be a lot, and you do sacrifice a lot. But that's at the end of the day, they always say that's the price of being in the business of rock and roll. And well, it's great, and that, you know, I can understand that, and that's that way of thinking. But I feel like, you know, there still needs to be that balance.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know,
100%.
and I think that's cool that you did reflect on it. Like, yeah, I had to like sometimes duck out and go head home and just like kind of take care of some business. And like, yeah, it's gonna happen. Whether you're on a reality TV show, whether you're on a nationwide tour, whatever you're doing, maybe you're on a film set. Like, life's still going on. You know, electric's still got to get paid. You know,
Right,
the dog's still
right.
got to be taken out. You know,
100%.
so. Dude, that's so cool. I cannot wait to hear this record, man.
I'm very excited. This is like, Jordan, I'm telling you, man, these are the best songs I think I could have ever written or been a part of the writing process of my entire life. Dude, me and Leo worked so closely on this whole thing. I mean, he is the mastermind behind this album. And together, we made it happen. So to kind of give you a little bit of the lore, I guess,
Yeah.
we wrote like near 25 songs.
Okay.
And we picked 14. So that's how seriously we took this. We were like, and that was hard too. Like, man, I really like that song, but it's not going to fit the album. So
Yeah.
like the songs that were on the chopping block and what we ended up keeping, writing the lyrics and writing the guitar parts and rehearsing them too. And then Dustin, our drummer, this was the first like legitimate recording like project he's ever really been on. It
Wow.
was like the first album he ever did. So it was a big growing moment for him too. And a lot of times I'd be like, hey, just stay focused. You know what you're doing. You're the captain of this drum set. And this is the song you've never heard before. So here we go. Good luck. And I know he respects me as a drummer too. So giving him advice or being like, try it this way, or like try coming in on like the end of 3 or whatever, was cool because he wasn't like, shut up, I know what I'm doing. He was like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, that actually makes sense. So we all learned together a lot.
That's good.
We built our guitar solos together. We built our parts together. I wasn't ashamed to be like, I want Eric to take this guitar solo, even though I know I can do it and want to do it, because I think his style will suit the song
It'll suit
better.
it better.
Yeah, you know, so like it grew our confidence away of like, I don't care. I can hammer out the freaking rhythm parts while this guy goes banana lands and takes the spotlight for a minute. In fact, I encourage it.
Yeah, it should be that way as a frontman, especially a frontman and guitar player, because like a lot of people think frontman guitar players are very egotistical, or like, I have to be reigning in the spotlight at all times. It's like, no, a good frontman, especially one that plays guitar, you want your band to shine.
Oh, big time.
Yeah, and that's so. I think it's probably why you and I clicked again from the beginning. But is that's something that, I mean, I've seen hundreds of bands come through Nashville, and it's always the focal point is always just the front man, or the, you know, and it's like, that's it. Everything else, these guys are just nobodies. Like, pay attention to me. It's like, no, like, what is this band about? And like, when you get those moments to showcase the other band members, what they get, that they can do, what they highlight. There's times in Hungry and Dangerous where Joe takes lead vocals.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I let him do his thing because Joe's an amazing singer.
Dude,
Yeah.
every member of your band is an amazing musician, man.
Well, I appreciate that, man.
Yes, and that's no cap. That is a straight fact, bro. I've seen it. I've lived with you guys. I've seen, you know.
And actually, I guess that could segue perfectly to what's coming up for you. Like, what do you got going on?
Yes. So, kind of wrapping up the whole story with the record here. So we wrote the songs, we recorded them. My recording experience was really interesting. So as you know, I've been staying out in Arizona. I've been central in Nashville since the start of 2025.
Which is crazy.
I know, it is wild, man. But I've been back so often. So I looked at the guys, I said, listen, here's the deal. This album's done. I'm going to do my parts. I'm going to let you guys wrap up. I need to take a small break. my mama needs help at the restaurant in Superior, and I would love to take that opportunity to kind of cool the jets and just kind of rediscover myself. You know, spending the winter in a place where it didn't really feel like winter
Yeah.
was so nice for me. I mean, I was balls to the wall busy for like 6-7 years in Nashville.
Yeah.
And so I took off, but before that, so I had to record 14 songs on guitar and vocals in like 3 days. Boy, howdy, was that an experience.
Oh, I'm sure.
By the end of it, though, we were so pleased with what we got. And Leo and I were listening to the last song called Thin Ice, which is going to be the first and only acoustic song on the album.
Oh, I can't wait.
And it was like, dude, we had a good cry together, man, which like, and he just looked at me, he was like, I know, buddy, I know. Because it was a lot. It was a lot of emotions at that time. I was going through a major transition in my personal life with a bunch of different things. And it proved to me like, I could do that. I could do that in a short amount of time, and now I can kind of go. And then, so music kind of took a break for me. I knew that the boys were in the studio hustling hard, and I started hiking every single day. And I started finding peace within myself through nature and discovering myself again. It was the first time in my life that I felt truly alone and comfortable being alone too.
Yeah, those pictures were awesome, dude.
Oh, dude,
I was so stoked for you when I was seeing it. I was like, yeah, you get it, bro.
Thank you so much. So much clicked for me in those moments. I learned how to be a more patient person, less kind of like grouchy, uptight. Like I just learned how to like breathe through my emotions and just find more peace within myself, which a lot of that I think was getting a lot of feelings off my chest on this record. So album's coming out in November, I believe.
Awesome.
We've been working with Skid Mills, who's a phenomenal producer. Anyone watching this podcast probably knows who he is.
Yeah.
He's worked with Pop Evil and Saving Abel. And he likes us, which is cool. So these songs really came to life when he started mixing them.
That's awesome.
It also helps that Leo is an incredible engineer and mixer
So good.
himself. So he basically gave him something we could release already and was like, have
Make it
at
better.
Go have fun. So I think we have 2 more singles coming out. One's going to be my favorite song off the album called One Day.
Okay.
And I'm hoping that we can release that either on my birthday or a day before my birthday, which will be next month. This month now in September.
Just about.
So,
yeah, it'll be out by
17
September.
days.
Yeah.
And then we'll probably do one more quick one after that and just get the album out. So,
I love that, dude.
Yeah, it's going to be called Tales of the Misguided Souls.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, very excited about that.
Heck yeah, man.
Yeah, songs about kind of finding yourself through good and bad moments and finding peace with it.
The one thing I think the biggest takeaway for everyone here, and it's something I'm going to take away with this as well, is, I mean, the ability to be able to be like, hey, I'm going to step away to just find myself again is such an empowering thing to hear, because, I mean, everyone in the music industry will always tell you, like, there's never an off button. You just go. You just go and go. And it's like, but it's not healthy to be that way. It's not your mental. Like, I mean, I've been on the go for 10 years now, and it's like, I'm thinking myself, maybe I need to take a step back and cool the jets, because it's, but you don't think about it. You're like, no, if I'm taking a step back, someone's going to hurtle over me, or I'm going to lose momentum, or this or that. It's like, it's important to remember that you have one life to live, and you can breathe. You can take a break. It's okay to come back to it. And I think that's the most important. That's a huge takeaway, because everyone thinks like, unless I'm rich and famous, I can't take a break. It's like, no.
Oh, yeah.
You need to. You need to take breaks.
If anything, it's going to get more accelerated when you're rich and famous. Now you got no time. All your friends want to hang out with you because you got the money and so like, and it's true. Like the mental health aspect of my life was one thing that was constantly put on the back burner.
Yeah.
And it sucks too, because I was trying so hard and my friends were seeing me struggle so hard. They knew I was in therapy. They knew I was trying to do the right thing the whole time. And and on the surface, you'd be surprised even knowing that too. Like, you mean this guy's got like deep emotions where he's angry and unsatisfied and this and that? Because you know me. I was like, hey, what's going on, guys? Da, 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 da. And I wouldn't say it was like masked or it was phony. That was who I was in those moments, but it would come out in these like crazy like
moments,
where it would just catch me by surprise. It's like it would come knocking on my back door like, remember me?
Yeah, it's like that monkey on your back that kind of keeps itching at you like, hey, man, you're like, and you're always trying to justify it too, like in those moments. Like, I'm the same way where it's like, yeah, I've done this and this. And it's like, yeah, but you've never played an arena before. Yeah, you've never done this before. Yeah, you're still not there yet. And it's still scratching at your back. And you're like, chill. Like, calm down. Yeah. And I think that is like such an important thing for people to hear. It is okay to just take a moment for you.
Yeah.
Will, where can people find you?
Where can they find me? Like,
It's like social media. Like,
Oh,
if people are like, dude, I love this guy. I need to follow him. I want to follow Sleeper Signal. Where can we find you?
Of course. Well, if you Google me, it's going to come up with a famous philosopher from like the 1930s. So don't just Google William James. You're not going to find me. You're going to find some old dude with a mustache. Instagram handle has been OG since like 2011. It's at Willis Torrey. So like, what you talking about, Willis? That was kind of like my nickname. Everyone called me Willis. And my real last name, Torrey, T-O-U-R-I. And then Sleeper Signal's just at Sleeper Signal everywhere. We have a pretty website up right now if you want to go there and buy some merch or get updates. But the Instagram is fun too because like, you know, we have we've got a decent amount of followers. We put up some fun content, some content we've put up with you guys, which is so fun. So yeah, and if you want to find me in real life, well, phone numbers are pretty public access. You could just shoot me a text or find me on.
And funny enough, if you go to Sleeper Signal's Facebook or Instagram page, our audience as well knows Black Owl very well, Daniel.
Oh yes,
He
Daniel.
did an episode with us a while back, so
yeah.
you'll see some of his stuff, and even where he put you on the spot the other day.
Oh, did he? Really?
No, remember the video where it's like when you're
oh my God, yes.
When your buddy uses another photographer, and it's just you in the photo.
Yeah, and what's funny, this is crazy too. So I found that photographer he was talking about. Her name is Patty Powers, and I met her. I found her out in Phoenix, Arizona. But she's like a local Nashville legend too. Like she lived here and worked with a lot of rock bands out here. And somehow we discovered each other out in Phoenix because I needed some pictures done. And she was like, oh, you know so-and-so. And I was like, how do you know this person? We used to date. And I'm like, no way. Like that's so crazy. Like, you know, so small world, man.
It is, dude. It is so small. And that's what's so funny is like now having this podcast, it's like crazy, like how I'm getting all my friends on here and we're talking about their careers and stuff. And it's just like how many little people know each other. Like, hey, I know that guy too. I know this guy too. Like, you know, and it's just, I love it. The community is amazing. And
most certainly.
Will, thank you. I know you were only here for a couple days and man, I wish I was free. We could go grab some drinks and, dude, really catch up.
I'll be running back before you know it.
Please do, man. Cause we got some good catching up to do, some good drinks and some good Packer games to watch.
Go Pack, go. That's number one.
Exactly. And that'll conclude it for this episode of the Created Studios podcast. Tune in next week for a brand new episode, and you can always come in and hang out with us here every day in the heart of Franklin, Tennessee at your local Walmart. We're available every day from 11 to 10, and we'll see you next week on this edition of the Created Studios podcast.